Welcome back to All the Things Music, the podcast, episode 6. We
That's
have
crazy.
we have some special guests today. We are going to be joined by the Ivy,
Who
and
are the Ivy? They
they
are, they are, actually, you're gonna have to keep listening to find out.
they'll introduce themselves. But if you like indie pop, I think you'll enjoy this one.
Yeah, they are a band who actually their tour is starting today. The day that this episode goes up, their tour is starting today, pretty much everywhere across North America and Canada. And yeah,
And if you haven't bought your ticket yet, you should, and we will see you there.
My name's Wyatt. I play guitar and sing lead vocals in the Ivy.
And my name is Shawn, and I play synth and sing backups and help write and produce all the songs that come out.
amazing. So let's talk a little bit about when you first formed the Ivy in 2017. What was kind of your vision for the sound that you wanted to create, and how has it evolved over time?
Yeah, I think Wyatt and I met at music school, and we quickly realized that we kind of shared similar tastes in indie pop and similar influences at the time. And then slowly throughout the years, we just kind of were creating music that we enjoyed making, and that just kind of came to the surface. And then it kind of would, evolve based on how our listening patterns evolved as well. Um, and yeah, it's always stayed, I would say, decently true to kind of who we are at the time that the song comes out, or at least when it's being written. What do you think, Wyatt?
Yeah, I mean, like Shawn said, we kind of shared similar influences in like the indie kind of like synth pop world. That was back in 2016, and we still do, but like kind of our tastes, both as individuals and as like a band, I would say, has evolved quite a bit. And I think, yeah, the music that we've put out throughout the years has been pretty like reflective of that. Um, I think in the beginning it was a lot of like synths, and it was like let's start the song around like a keyboard patch or whatever,
Mm.
and we still do that from time to time, but I would say it's kind of evolved more into like how can we do that same thing but make it feel as like organic and human as possible at the same time,
Hmm.
if that's fair to say, Shawn.
Yeah.
Can you share who any of those like influential artists were?
Yeah, I think at first it was like the 1975 and small pools really, and then also just like I we were really into like synthwave stuff, like FM84 at the time, and like M83, and just lots of bands with like
Mhm.
numbers in the title.
Yeah.
um, so yeah, if you can think of any more, Shawn.
Yeah, no, nail on the head. Japanese house. We were just
Mm-hmm.
as this new, like, I don't know. In my head, it was like my high school music and then my college music was quite drastically different. And something, I guess, clicked in college, which was almost like this fusion of like what I always thought of like alternative rock met like electronic music. But then there was this nostalgia that came from it. And little did I know that's what old 80s music sounded like. And so it's not even like we were chasing, let's write like cool 80s music. It just, someone said, oh, you have synth and guitar. That's like the 80s. And yeah.
Awesome. That kind of like ties into the next question that we had, which was just like, what about each other's musical style or approach sparked a strong connection for you guys as a band?
Yeah, when I met Shawn, I was like, this guy's a production wizard. Like he was like on Ableton. I didn't even have Ableton. I was on like Logic and GarageBand, and like could produce a song that was good enough, but he was like kind of on a different level. And so I would say, yeah, from a production standpoint, he kind of opened the door for me in a lot of ways. Um, and yeah, and it's interesting because we both kind of like I started producing like dubstep on an iPad when I was like 16, and it was bad. But
Still cool
Um,
though.
yeah, it was kind of cool. And then
Yeah.
I kind of transitioned into more of like a singer songwriter thing. But Shawn, I know also, at least in like high school, kind of came from like an EDM
Mhm.
background as well. So we kind of like had that in common right off the bat.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like whenever that dubstep era hit, it was like sophomore year of high school for me. I was like, how are they making these noises? And I just started Googling it and like, what does Skrillex use to make,
Yeah.
Dude,
toothbrush
yeah.
sounds?
I remember Googling dubstep maker. Like I thought there was just something that
Yeah,
would like spit it out for you. Like
yeah,
There should
exactly.
be.
there should be. Yeah, there
Yeah,
probably is now.
That can be
Eh,
your next career move is becoming the people who make the dubstep makers, the
Exactly.
I
AI.
think, yeah, I think they call that
Yeah.
AI is what I was gonna
Yeah.
say.
So let's kind of fast forward a little bit into talking about the new song, Don't Fall Asleep to This. Um, this episode is actually going to go up, I think, on the day that you guys start the tour, which is
Oh,
really
sweet.
exciting.
Perfect.
Um, and the song has come out kind of ahead of the tour. How are you feeling about the tour, playing the song on tour, stuff from the debut album that came out last year, all of those things?
Yeah. Well, we're pumped to play it on tour. We're excited to travel with Jackie of Lynx, and we're super excited with how the song reception has been so far and how it's been received. Um, yeah, I think performing it every night will be super fun.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's also a little bit nerve-wracking because the first time that like us and Jackie are gonna even play it together is gonna be like sound check of the first show. So,
Oh, no way.
um,
Yeah.
so like we've been practicing it on our side, and she's been like practicing it on her side. I think she's gonna play bass, and I'm gonna play her like acoustic. So it should be fun.
It's a great
Mhm.
song. I like it a lot.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Um, how kind of did that song come about? Kind of
Yeah,
inspiration and how you guys decided to make it a collaboration.
yeah. So we met Jackie through our management. Um, it was a similar, I believe it was like a sync agent that we both shared.
Mhm.
Um, and then, so we kind of had this whole week planned around this writing trip where we went out to LA and met with a bunch of cool people and got to be a part of some cool projects. And this song, we were staying with a friend who lived in LA at the time. And I kind of just started the song from this like random keyboard patch. And I was like, oh, it kind of sounds like a lullaby type of vibe. So I was like, I just named the sketch project like Don't Fall Asleep to This, fully expecting that not to be like the song title. And then, um, yeah, we went to Jackie and she liked it and just kind of immediately had like a vibe for it, like had like lyrics. And um, yeah, it was just like got to work really fast on it. And we just all clicked really well, I would say.
Exactly.
I
Couldn't have
love
said it better myself.
that. I love that.
The
So
band mind meld is happening.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
literally.
Yeah.
So continuing on talking about tour, you guys have headlined your own tours and you've also shared the stages with people like the band Camino and LANY. What have you learned about connecting with audience during live performances?
Hmm.
Tough question.
No, I mean, I have like a really honest, I guess, yeah, I should be honest.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I feel like so like things are gonna go wrong. That's kind of like day one, and you kind of have to just be like prepared for that to happen. And I would say the audience is not gonna know. Like you just have to roll with it as best you can and try to keep like a positive mindset because that's like what the audience is gonna remember and connect with more so than like oh like I can't believe this is happening because Shawn and I both have shared like a lot of frustration on stage before with like technical issues or like oh I can't hear anything in my monitor or whatever like so you just have to try to keep it as lighthearted as possible. I think people really connect with that. And that's been like almost a
Yeah.
decade in the making of that lesson being learned. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I used to always say my best moments in life have been on stage, and some of the most embarrassing moments in life have been on stage. And like,
yeah,
it's all in your head, but still, it's just funny. But I think connecting with the audience is big. Like, um, I don't know, just feeling the energy. It's if the audience is giving some kind of energy, it's 10 times more of a good time than, if the lights are on and it's like a school cafeteria or a school talent show.
Oh
Everyone's
yeah,
sitting
dude.
down with their hands in their lap.
Yeah, I was
Yeah, we
gonna
played a
say,
show one time. There were like literally like auditorium seating, but like or like folding chairs. It
Mhm.
felt like we were at like a church service. It
oh
was
my
Oh,
so weird.
God.
all
Yeah,
linoleum lights, just
Oh
or
my
yeah,
God.
fluorescent lights.
yeah.
I feel like that would be so awkward.
Hmm.
But I was gonna say, hopefully you guys get like a good audience that even if there's like mistakes, obviously they don't know there's mistakes and they can just still roll with the punches and have a good time. That's probably like the best you could ask for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Nothing beats a good audience.
And they don't know. They really. It's that's the thing. It really is all in your head. It's like, oh, I
Hmm.
didn't even notice that like half the song wasn't there.
Yeah,
So
Fake it till you make it, right?
right.
exactly.
Um, kind of continuing to talk about kind of show everything related to tours and shows and everything. What can you share about the process of developing a set list and headlining show concept?
That's a Sean
Mm.
question for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think developing a show is super fun. It's all trial and error. It's like you have something in your head and you try your best to chase it and just make it happen with what you can do. And it's funny because like the very first show we played, we scrambled $300 and somehow made it work, and it sounded, pretty good. And so now we're to the point where we can really dial it in, and it's kind of like what we were talking about in terms of engaging with the audience. There's a certain level of like being really aware of how everything technically is working, and then not just like letting it happen and saying whatever happens happens, let's have a good time.
Mhm.
And so then the set list order really helps just kind of guide you through the night. And so as much as possible, I feel like a set list has to have dynamics, ups and downs, songs that people know, but then also songs that maybe they're more tucked away in your discography, but they're just a favorite of yours. And so I think it's cool to blend those and really make it like as dynamic as possible.
I'm not going to ask for spoilers, but is there anything about this upcoming show concept that you're really excited about?
Yeah, for the first time in like probably 5 or 6 years, we're throwing in a cover, and I'm not going to say what it is, but we're
Mm.
pretty stoked about it. I think it'll be kind of not out of left field, but maybe a bit unexpected. So
Yeah.
that sounds like a minor thing. I mean, people play covers all the time, but we just like the last cover we did was Hotline Bling by
Oh,
Drake.
that's so funny.
Yeah, we did that in like 2018, probably
Yeah.
2017.
2016, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long time. So yeah, I'm
It's like,
excited to throw another one in there. It's not a Drake song.
yeah, Kendrick, watch out.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. So, more tour questions for you guys. Do you have a city that you're most excited to play?
Um,
Hmm.
I love Ohio, I think. Oh,
That's what I was gonna
not,
say.
not a
That's
city,
funny.
but surprisingly,
The city of Ohio. Sorry.
yeah. Yeah, no, surprisingly just really fun people every time we go. Super fun.
Awesome. And then, do you guys have like a specific memory from any of your tours so far that is your favorite and has like just been such a good experience for you that shaped your music?
Hmm. I mean, for me, maybe not my favorite, but one that comes to mind. Speaking of Ohio, I remember we played, I think it was Cleveland, maybe, or Cincinnati, and I was like really sick, like sinus infection, like awful. This was before COVID, but I assumed that that was like the worst show I've ever played, but like people were so into it, and despite me clearly having something wrong, like people were just vibing. Um, and afterwards, like the feedback was so good, and people were so gracious. So that was a really cool moment. Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know, Sean. What do you
Cincinnati's
think?
a fun crowd
It
for
is, yeah,
sure.
it's a good
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was gonna say Abby went to a concert in Cincinnati a
Yeah.
few years ago, and she always talks about it.
Yeah. One of my favorite shows ever. So I
Yeah,
understand the Ohio hype.
Yeah, I feel like Ohio kind of gets like memed a little bit too hard. Like
Mhm.
I don't really get the hate.
I agree. Yeah. I get it with Florida, low key, but low key.
Understandable.
Depends on the city. But
Yeah.
no, yeah. I love Ohio. I think as far as like a memory that sticks out, I don't know, like we've done fun hikes. We've taken the time to
Mm.
like get out and explore like beautiful spots. We've gotten into some crazy situations with the van. One
Yeah,
of
I was
them,
like we have some least favorite memories for sure.
Oh no.
but like made for great stories later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I would say a really fun one was that time in San Francisco where we were looking over like the entire coast and it was so pretty. We just found this lookout spot.
Yeah.
And it was like minutes after our van got stuck on this hill and we had to like
Oh my
stack
gosh.
wood logs underneath
Oh
it
my
just to
gosh.
get the third
Yeah.
tire like back on land. It was crazy.
Yeah, that was a nice little like reward for our hardship.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
cannot imagine on those streets in San Francisco. That would be awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was wild.
Yeah, one of Michaela and I's favorite things to do when we go to shows like in other places is to kind of try to explore. So it's cool that you guys kind of have the time and the opportunity to do that when you're on tour too, and it's
Yeah.
not just show, show,
Mhm.
show all the time.
Yeah.
Although
Yeah,
that's
I
important too.
that's one thing about this tour. I want to be a little more intentional about like planning fun things to go see and do and like just try to really take in the fact that we get to travel like the whole US and not just be like we got to go go go, you know. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. I was
I'm
gonna
planning on being at the Chicago show, and it's in a really cool part of Chicago. I don't know if you've been
Sweet.
to Subterranean or the Wicker Park area before, but there's a lot of cool stuff in that area.
Nice.
nice. Looking forward to it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. My older brother lives in Chicago and he
Oh.
said the Subterranean was awesome. So
Mhm.
I'm pumped.
Are there any particular artists or producers that you would love to collaborate in the future?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Mm,
trying to think.
yeah, I mean,
That's a tough one. I know.
Well, one of my favorite, this is kind of like an obscure one, but there's this guy out of Portland. His name's Quickly, and he's like quickly becoming one of my favorite
That's a
artists.
good pun there. I liked
It
it.
was really stupid. I regretted it immediately. Uh, no, he has a really cool sound, and I'd love to get the chance to do something with him. Um, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
obviously, there's heavy hitters like Rick Rubin, George Daniel,
Yeah, of
those kind of
course.
guys. But
Mm, yeah. No, I
Zed,
agree.
that'd
Justin Vernon.
be
Yeah.
wild.
That would be really cool.
Hmm. That'd be crazy.
With kind of the success of the singles that you've had and the EPs and the album and everything, where do you see the Ivy's musical journey kind of going next? What
We've
do you
got some
have up
stuff
your
in the.
sleeves?
Sorry.
What do you have up your sleeves?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got some stuff in the pipeline. We definitely have some cool stuff that we're excited about.
Mm,
Stuff that's like maybe not super similar to stuff we've done in the past, but also not like so much of a detour that it'll throw people off kind of thing. But yeah, we've got some cool stuff.
yeah. Excited for you guys to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to listen.
Are you
Um,
teasing any of it on tour or
yeah,
no?
good question.
Man, we were going to, but
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. Our set's kind of put together in a way that I don't know. It's just very tight right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay. If there's anything you could communicate directly to your fans who are coming out to the shows, what would you want to share with them?
Mm, get ready for get ready for a lot of the Ivy. We're playing, yeah, I mean, I think we're playing a good mix of old and new, just kind of all over our discography. I think it's a very good mix. So, and as Wyatt leaked, we're doing a cover. So, yeah, it should be fun for everyone. We're gonna bring the energy. You know, it'll be hype. It'll be a fun time.
yeah.
Maybe it won't be hype, but
Oh, it'll be hype.
It'll be out.
It'll be hype for sure.
Are there like any parts of the set that you feel like are going to be like the most fun or the most like exciting for fans to hear?
Hmm.
I think we end strong.
Hmm.
I think
Going
that's the
out,
goal. I think
going
we
out with a
start
bang.
strong. Yeah.
The middle, no, I'm kidding.
You
Like we
gotta get through
definitely
the middle.
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, there's a couple times. I mean, there's at least one moment in the set where we are like taking like a pretty old song of ours and like totally revamping it in a new style, and it was kind of a pretty last minute decision, but
Hmm.
it's coming together pretty cool. I think people will like it because they'll be like, "Oh, I recognize this, but it's not the
Like
same."
stripped in. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Um, do you have just kind of in general any like favorite memories related to music?
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, I think like Wyatt and I one this was the coolest thing because we were in just like a high rise in Berlin because of our music, and so we kind of like looked at each other and I was like, how are we here right now? And he's like, I don't know. And I was like, me neither. And that was like such a fun like shared moment because probably 2 years before we were recording in a stairwell of like a random warehouse, and
Hmm.
why it's like, yeah, but like best case scenario we put our music out and it's like one amongst millions, and I'm like, yeah, something will happen. And then we were ended up in Berlin, so that was cool.
Really cool.
Yeah, that's probably that whole trip was for me was like top, was like peak experience. So
Was that for a tour?
it was for a we were on a we were had different management at the time, and they were like partially based out of Berlin, and so we got to he kind of hooked us up with like a songwriting trip out there.
Cool.
And we were there for I think 10 days.
Hmm. Berlin
And it
and
was fun. We got to
Stockholm.
work with so many cool people. Um, yeah, got to meet like the head of like Sony Europe. That's
That's
kind of
cool.
Wow.
I think another cool moment is we had a lot of just like it apparently overnight, but just our song Gold like hit the algorithm. And so we had 700 monthly listeners after, trying for like 2 or like a year and a half putting out music. And we had this song that did really well. And so it ended up on the Spotify viral charts. And we reached out to the head of a school that we met at, Wyatt and I, and it's like a music school. And so we had these meetings with labels set up, and we did them with the head of the school, who's like the Flaming Lips manager, Scott Booker.
Oh, that's
Shout
cool.
out. And so, yeah, him being in the room, kind of directing these calls and these conversations was a really fun experience. Learned a lot.
yeah, for sure. Oh, speaking of the song Gold, actually, I know my favorite memory officially. So I was driving back from school. Shawn and I had like different class schedules at the time, but we shared a dorm room. And I was driving home, and I like thought of this song idea. And then like the first thing Shawn says to me when I walk in the door, he's like, dude, I just had this idea for a song. And we both, I'm not even making this up, like we both thought of the same thing. Like we both were like, we should have a song called Gold.
No
Same
way.
day,
That's
I had
weird.
literally written
same day,
down the
like
word
2 hours
gold.
apart from each other. Like it's like
Yeah.
you can't, it's one of those divine, like weird universe
Yeah.
things.
Oh
But it
yeah.
was
That's
wild.
super cool.
Yeah. I love that. I know. I wrote down the word gold and like underlined it. And why I walked in the room and was like, I thought of a name for our new summer song. I'm like, what is it? And then I like pointed at the paper. I'm like, no
Whoa.
way.
That's a great story. That's so cool.
I
Yeah, it
don't
was
even
so
think
fun.
we've like told that publicly before. I
Oh,
don't
we
know.
got the inside scoop.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we're honored to know the story behind that one. That's cool.
For
Yeah.
sure.
So we always like to end our episodes with just like a kind of funny question. What is your song of the day if you had to pick one? Any song, it doesn't have to be your own.
Right now, I'd have to say "Chores" by Feeble Little Horse.
Okay, I haven't heard that one. I will have to add it to my playlist to check
It's
it
a
out.
wild song.
Okay.
Is it cheating to check Spotify? I
No,
have
go for it.
I have like this Latin song that I've been listening to. It's really
Ooh,
funny. I mean, it's with Archangel and Bad Bunny, and it's called La Jumper, like
Okay.
La Humpa. But
Okay.
it's like it's a vibe. It's fun.
I'll have to add that one as well. We'll just have like a curated playlist of everyone's songs and we'll just like
Nice.
shuffle it.
Nice.
awesome.
Awesome.
Before we wrap up, would you guys like to give any um socials, details, plugs, anything for yourselves before we wrap up for today?
Yeah, follow us on anywhere at We Are the Ivy. We Are the Ivy across the board, and we will see you on tour March, April, US, Canada.
Yes, sir.